Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here then hi, my name is Miss Paris and on my channel you can find tips, advice and information all about teaching, as well as being able to follow along with my own personal journey. So if that's something that interests you, do go and check out some of my older videos. If you're looking for something specific, they are listed in playlists, and obviously do consider subscribing for future teacher related content. So this video is going to be for ECTs and it's around the theme of your first day, or potentially your first week. Is going to include inset days, classroom prep, knowledge of your children, all those lovely stuff that you can expect. Oh, and admin. But before we start, I do need to say a big thank you to our sponsor BESA, which stands for the British Educational Suppliers Association. I will be talking a little bit about them and their roadshow a little bit later on. But first, let's get started. So you might have qualified in July and be thinking, right, I'm about to start my ECT year. I have no idea what to expect. It's my first time obviously with a full class and I'm the only one responsible for them. So you might be a little anxious and apprehensive of what's to come, what will I be doing, because obviously you know you're going to be teaching, you know you're going to be lesson planning, all those kind of things, but there's little things that you might not know about, like the running of a school, or what to expect from the ECT framework. So hopefully this will give you a nice little outline. So one thing that you could expect, especially at the beginning of the year in September, are inset days. Now inset days, it's likely that all the staff will have that. It will be maybe some kind of form of CPD, continuous professional development. It might be something in relation to curriculum updates, maybe some trust updates. It might be some safeguarding kind of refresh, recap. There's lots of different things that could happen in this day. It might be 1, 2, 3 days. You might also have meetings with your phase leads or specific subject leads. So let's say you're in Key Stage 1, you might have some extra like recap training from a phonics lead, for example. So yes, do expect to have some kind of inset day. It's quite rare in September that they just chuck you in first day with the children, because obviously there's lots to change and adjust, and often SLT will reflect during the summer as to certain changes, and they will implement that for the new academic year. A little tip, actually 2 little tips I would have for these inset days, is to find out the dress code in advance, because I've had it before where I've come like quite formal, like a normal teaching outfit, and everyone was in jeans, but then I've also gone to inset days expecting the same thing, but suddenly they were like, no, smart casual, absolutely no jeans. So you don't want to look the odd one out. If you can't find out, just assume smart casual, don't wear jeans just in case, and remember to bring lots of writing material, and if you are allowed laptops that day, then you know you can write notes on laptops as well. Be prepared as an ECT. I will also say this, be prepared as an ECT for lots of admin. So some of you may not have received your contract, you might get it a few weeks in, so you might receive contracts, you will receive new logins, new passwords, you might be given details on completing certain training. We had like safeguarding, educare training. I think now we've changed platform, but yes, lots of admin your way. It's going to be a lot of information to process, but if you write it down or write little memos to yourself, then this will help as well. But don't become too overwhelmed with it all. It's just HR or the office kind of getting through everything for you. During these inset days, if you haven't already received a handover, so let's say you've never worked at that school before, do try and meet up with the previous teacher to just talk about the children, so you can have an idea of additional needs or abilities, any kind of parents you need to be, or like home situations you need to be made aware of, any safeguarding issues. So they might not be able to tell you the full story, but if you already know that there have been safeguarding concerns in the past, then you can be extra vigilant. But yes, I would definitely recommend that. Make notes, and then already you'll have like a better understanding of the children. Don't get me wrong, you will learn about them so quickly, you will get to know all of the people in your class, but this just gives you like a little heads up. If you do have prep time, do use that wisely. If you're not in a one-form school, then try and collaborate with other people for your department, or you know, with a team teacher if you're in primary, and really just get stuck down. If it's a task that will take you quite a while, don't use that prep time with your colleague to do that. I would recommend trying to sort out like sequence of lessons or who's going to plan what, little things like that, because you know, the longer things you can do at home, whereas it would be a shame if you've got that one-on-one time with a colleague that you'll be working with to then just end up doing something independently on your laptop. So before I carry on and talk to you a little bit more about the classroom and ways you can prepare for that, I'd like to talk to you about Visa. So they have kindly sponsored this video because they have an incredible opportunity coming up. And I know with the cost of things rising and things like that, it can be very daunting to want to go to an event or want to go to a conference. However, everything I'm about to tell you, you can get free tickets for. So, you know, you don't even have that obstacle to talk about. They are hosting the Learn Ed Roadshow, which has a focus on making technology more accessible in schools, how technology can be used more effectively, and it's going to be really, really interesting. They have different venues across the UK at different dates, so if there's one that's not local to you, maybe the next date will be closer to you. I will leave a detail of all the different dates and all the different locations in the description below, but I personally find, you know, ICT quite difficult to teach. I don't think my subject knowledge is the strongest in this area, and so I found this really interesting because I maybe don't use technology in the classroom as much as I could, and I know that technology can support children's learning so much. So this is an amazing opportunity that if you feel a little bit like me and you're like, oh, you know, I'm not super confident, or I don't know how to implement ICT outside of the ICT suite or outside of ICT lessons, then this is definitely for you. We also talk a lot about well-being for staff, well-being for pupils, and this is one of the areas that they cover. They talk about ensuring digital resilience that can like help with the well-being of pupils, and I just think this is absolutely fascinating because I hadn't even considered that. There's so much negative press about technology use in children that I hadn't considered this at all. So this was probably one of the like highlights for me. It's also a great course, not just for class teachers, but for ICT leads as well, because they talk about kind of the effectiveness and how to analyze how good a software or a particular scheme is. They also talk about how you can minimize the attainment gap in technology, because obviously those that may come from lower socioeconomic statuses might not have the same knowledge as somebody that has loads of access to computing at home. And we've seen this just in home learning. You know, some children really struggle to get access to those online lessons, whereas some found it really easy. So there is a gap in attainment in technology, and they also address this. So the tickets are free, like I said, you get lunch included. There's like a live classroom kind of scenario, so you can see these pedagogical approaches like come to life in front of you. You can see how they're implemented. You can obviously also hear from experts, and the teacher training workshops. You get a certificate at the end because they're BESA accredited, and you get a goodie bag at the end. So honestly, if you're looking for some kind of CPD, if you're interested in computing, if you're interested in bringing the curriculum to life, then I will leave all the details in the description below, because honestly, it is an incredible roadshow and I think it is such a good idea. So speaking of good ideas, another really good thing to do during your inset days, your first week, but is really to familiarise yourself with the classroom. I've had a few stories, bless them, of new teachers going to their school, but the school gates are locked and they haven't been able to get into their classroom. So if this is your first time in your classroom, just understand, find out where everything is. If you don't like the specific arrangement or something, or you think this is going to be awkward for transitions, maybe you're like me and you're quite short and you realise something's really high up, bring it down so that, you know, it's easily accessible, and just get to grips with where everything is. I would also, if you did get ahead of planning, or maybe you use that inset day to do so and discuss with your colleague, I would also try and print off as much as you can for that first day or first week, so that on the morning of the day the children come in, you are not queuing for the printer, you're not having that additional stress, because you want to start your year off as calmly as possible, just for your own well-being, as well as, you know, the stability of the children, because they want to come into a nice relaxing environment, not you trying to get last minute things done or last minute things cut out, that kind of thing. And my last tip would be to have the following things kind of very easily accessible to you, but also not just in plain view, because that would be kind of GDPR concerns, but things like ability lists, class lists. I would also recommend, because of the tip that I just gave you, to have like things labelled, displays up, just so that you are ready, you have all the knowledge you need that's like easily attainable for you. So, oh, another thing is like EHCPs or individual learning plans, things like that. you have them near you so you can reflect on them constantly or see what strategies there are in place to support that child. And then just make sure your environment is ready for that child when they first come in. If you enjoyed this video or you found it useful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Comment anything that I may have missed, or what do you think about Beeze's Learn Edge Roadshow? I think it is incredible, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more teacher related content in future. See you later, bye!